Hey, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and I apologize for being late today, a little bit, a couple minutes late. But I've been busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest, to be honest with you guys. I mean, it's been just a crazy, crazy, few weeks here with Harvest Harmonics. Everybody's kind of coming out of the holiday doldrums and getting ready for this next season, and of course, that means they're looking at technologies like the Kiminasi plant booster and companies like Harvest Harmonics. At the end of the day, though, one of the interesting things I've been noticing is a, a, a consideration. Really, it's basically a way of thinking that I've noticed, and this isn't just with farming. This is really something that goes on, I think, in any industry, right? And the theme of today, as far as the profitable farmer, what I want to kind of go over with you guys is what I call penny wise and pound foolish. Now, what does that actually mean? That means that in a lot of ways, if you focus on being a good buyer, you can be, really what we call penny wise. In other words, if you manage your expenses, you can, keep yourself profitable, even in situations or conditions which would otherwise cause you to lose money. And smart businessmen are good, and smart financial people within large companies are really good at minimizing expenses. In fact, you hear about it on the news, where a company will lay off thousands of employees, or in an effort to sort of trim the fat, as they say. And that can, of course, be a good thing in terms of business if your business is hurting and those guys just aren't producing. But it can also create problems and bottlenecks going forward, because now you have not enough employees when the business picks up again. But let's take a look at farming, and I want to keep this in agriculture, and discuss how you can be penny wise and pound foolish, and of course how you can also reverse that and really maximize the availability of profits for your business. Now, again, being penny wise is just being really shrewd. It's not paying more money than you have to on your inputs, on your labor costs, on all these other things. And of course, that's very important to manage those expenses. You don't want to just start bleeding all of your profits away just by overspending on stuff. But now we look at ourselves here in 2022, and we notice that the cost of fertilizer, for example, is going up, in some cases almost triple what it was just a year ago. And so you look at that and going, wow, I really need to trim the fat. I need to cut my expenses, right? And ironically, you don't hear them talking about cutting their fertilizer or other things. You hear them saying, well, I want to cut my labor costs, or cut these other things, or cut my fuel costs, etc. But in reality, you can only cut labor costs so far. In fact, a number of farmers I'm talking to, they're having labor shortage problems where they can't get the labor they need to go out and pick the crops, which is, of course, huge, because now, let's say you're using my product, the Kiminasi Plant Booster, you're producing 20, 30, 40% more yield than you were before. And now you don't have people to go out and pick it. That can be a problem, so that can be an issue too. But the Kiminasi plant booster is a very interesting thing, because it's not your typical input. It's not your typical cost, where you're looking at a fertilizer or something that's going to have a small positive impact in your overall yield. And so when I talk to some farmers, I can see it in their eyes, I can hear it in their voice, that when they're looking at some of the results that we're producing, 20%, 30%, 70%, 120% increases in yield, they're thinking to themselves, well, gosh, I don't first of all, I don't know if that's possible. So there's a little disbelief there, and that makes sense. When you're comparing it to fertilizers or pesticides or something that may give you a 2% or 5% return on your investment in terms of improvement in yield, of course, looking at something that's more expensive than a fertilizer is not going to make a lot of sense. But now I want you to stop and think for a second. Imagine, for if you will, two scenarios. One, you have a fertilizer that costs you, let's say you have to apply it 3 times a year, and it costs you $50 an acre per application. So your overall fertilizer cost is $150 per acre per year, right? And let's say you have, I'm just going to pick a crop. Let's say it's grapes, right? Let's say your existing production means that you're making about $5,000 in top line revenue per acre, right, on your grapes. So now you're investing in a fertilizer that's $150 extra. So in other words, you're immediately taking a profit hit of $150 by using this fertilizer. So let's say your net gain might be, but let's say it may give you a 1% increase. So instead of 5,000, you make 5,050, right? But then, of course, your 1% gain, or let's say it's a 3% gain, right? So it's $150 an acre per year that this fertilizer is benefiting you, right? Now you're looking at like, well, okay, I'm spending $150 to get a gain of $150, right? That's really not benefiting you. Okay. That's not a cost benefit analysis that works in your favor. In fact, it works against you. Now, on the surface, it looks like you're just breaking even with that, right? But the fact that you have to deal with another manufacturer, deal with invoicing costs, deal with fuel costs, deal with other equipment costs to apply this fertilizer. You have to deal with the fact that this fertilizer may be burning your soil or reducing microbial activity in the soil, which means that you're going to have to add more and more year over year or have other soil amendments because of the problems that this fertilizer is creating. You're actually coming out negative, even though on the top line revenue, you're breaking even, right? Now, I'm going to create an extreme example. Now, the cost of my system is nowhere near $1,000 an acre, right? But I'm going to put the cost of my system. Let's just say that the cost of my system was $1,000 an acre, right? And you're making 5,000, you're thinking, oh my God, that's 20% of my top line revenue for this new product. Now, before you get worried there, my system does not cost $1,000 an acre. Nowhere near, even in our super premium product, we're nowhere near $1,000 an acre. So you don't have to worry about that. Don't freak out on me. But I'm just using this as an example. Let's say it was, double or triple my cost. It was $1,000 an acre, right? Per acre per year. So if I was $1,000 per acre per year, and you're making $5,000 top line revenue, that's going to be a really scary proposition for you as a farmer, as a businessman, right? You're going to get scared thinking, "Oh my God, I have a new technology or a new input that's going to cost 20% of my top line revenue." And now, what if I told you that investment of $1,000 an acre is going to actually increase your yield by 60%? So instead of getting $5,000 per acre, you're going to get $8,000 in top line revenue per acre. Now you have to spend 1,000, but your net gain is going to be $2,000 per acre. So your net gain is $2,000 an acre, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but that's still I don't know. I don't know about spending 1,000 to pay for the system and then get an extra $2,000 back. Because that's a pretty big 60% is a pretty big differential. And I said, okay, but take into consideration this. My system improves microbial activity in the soil. And that means the microbes that are normally responsible for adding nitrogen, pulling nitrogen out of the air, and converting it to usable forms for the plants, those microbes are enhanced. It's going to improve mycorrhizal growth in the soil, which allows the plants to contact more of those nutrients efficiently. So that means you're going to be using less other fertilizers. It's going to reduce your water usage by, in some cases, up to 2/3, depending on the type of soil you have and the type of crops you have. But most farmers are reporting that they're using less water. It's going to make the plants or the trees much healthier. So it's going to be a bigger return on your investment, especially if you have perennials like trees or bushes like blueberries or those things that stay in the ground, right? It's going to improve your salt retention, right? It's going to improve the salt content, sodium content in the soil, so it actually reduces high sodium in the soil. So that's going to benefit your plants also. It's going to reduce the need for pesticides because it's going to cause insects to go away from the treated field. So it reduces your need for pesticides, it reduces your need for fungicides, reduces your need for other soil amendments, and overall, you're going to see huge, huge benefits in your environment. And lastly, and probably most importantly, it's going to make those plants resilient to weather fluctuations that would normally slow down the plant's growth or otherwise stop it in its tracks. Now, we've all had looked back on our farms and said, well, 2015 was a horrible year. We had bad weather, too much rain. It was cloudy all the time. The plants didn't grow very well. I didn't get a good crop, and I had to use crop insurance just to break even that year. And you can probably know, if you've been in the game for a long time, you probably can cite 4 or 5 of those years at least. If you're in California right now, you're already looking at a drought that's been 3 or 4 years. And a lot of farmers are telling us they may not even plant this year. They may not even try to harvest because it costs more money than it's worth for them to even harvest the crops. Now, that to me is a travesty, that you spend all of your time, energy, and your life's work putting these trees to work for you and making a living on it, only to say, I'm not going to even harvest this year because the labor cost is too high and my trees are not producing enough with this drought. So imagine if you have an input now that costs, let's say, $1,000 an acre per year. Like, it's crazy expensive when you compare it to that $150 fertilizer application, right? It's almost 10 times or 7, 8 times more. right? And you're thinking, oh my God, there's no way I would pay 7 times more for a device that's going to raise my crop yield. But I'm telling you, what if my system could increase your crop yield by 10x what that other fertilizer can do? Number one. Number two, it has all of these other benefits associated with it. It improves microbial activity, improves water retention in the soil, it improves weather sustainability, and produces better insect and fungus resistance. So it does all of these things and provides you a net gain of 1 to 2 times more than you're going to pay for it in the first year, right? Then it would be worth it, right? It'd be worth it. You have to. So when you're looking at cost benefit analysis, and we do this with every farmer we have a consultation with, we do a cost benefit analysis. So we actually show you before you ever purchase anything from us. And that includes even a trial device in most cases. Most of the time, we'll run through this cost benefit analysis. It's a free service that we provide to all farmers where we actually show you how much you're spending, how much of an increase we would expect you to get with a Kiminasi plant booster. And we go through for your crop and your field size exactly what your costs will be and exactly what that looks like in terms of a cost benefit analysis. And I'll let you guys know on certain crops like hay, alfalfa, and other things, there's been cases where my system just doesn't make sense economically for the farmer, and I just don't sell that farmer. I refuse to sell to a farmer unless I know that I can make that farmer money. But the good news is everybody who I do sell my product to is telling us that we're getting amazing gains and they're getting amazing improvements on their farm. They're making more money, and they're very, very happy with the system. And I'd love to add you to that group of people as well. We've already expanded into major farming operations, the largest farming operations in the world included in our portfolio now. And we have small farmers, medium-sized farmers, and everywhere in between. So it really is, size is not really an issue. The type of crops really isn't an issue. And really, you have nothing to lose. So I would invite you guys to call us at 727-324. Let me put the phone here. Hold on a second here. I invite you guys to call us for a free consultation. We'll run through the cost benefit analysis. We'll run you through the numbers, and we'll tell you, hey, this product isn't going to work for you based upon what you're doing. Or we'll tell you, look, you're going to have to use this product if you want to be profitable this year. Because believe me, we talk to enough farmers that there are a lot of farmers out there who aren't going to be profitable without this. And if you wait too long, if you wait till next year or the year after or the year after, you're not going to see the benefits that you would see if you start right now, because the improvements of the soil, the improvements of microbial activity, the improvements of the plant's resiliency now is going to benefit you in future years as well. It's not just a one and done product that you have to keep applying every year and it's not going to produce a result or produces diminishing returns. That's the other thing we talk to when we talk to farmers is they say, well, it works great the first year and then it less the second year, less the second year, less the second year. Because on a fertilizer, when you're killing that microbial activity in the soil, or you're making those microbes dormant, you're actually meaning you have to add more fertilizer the next year, and then more fertilizer, and then more fertilizer. And if you're using an insecticide that's designed to kill insects, for example, or kill a fungus, then nature will adapt; those organisms will adapt and become resistant to those chemicals. With the Kiminasi plant booster, we're not doing that. We're actually improving the plant health at the plant cellular level of the plant itself. And we're not killing the microbes of the soil. In fact, our system improves and enhances microbial activity in the soil. So whereas most products, you'll get a diminishing return year over year, our product, you're going to get better and better and better returns because we're enhancing and rebuilding that soil as well. And as every farmer can tell you, if you can rebuild the soil, you're leaps and bounds ahead of where you would be elsewhere. We wanted to make this a sustainable solution that you can get a good benefit in the first year, but also see tremendous benefits year over year over year. So having said that, let me jump to here and see if there's any questions here. This is a great way to do regenerative agriculture. Yes, that's a very good comment, Marie Angel. This is very compatible with organic growing and sustainable growing and regenerative farming. With regenerative farming, a big component of that is putting a cover crop in there during the off season or during a rotation season, so that cover crop can actually put those nutrients back in the soil. It puts that nitrogen, those nutrients back in the soil. But at the soil level, what's really happening with those cover crops is you're adding microbial activity in the soil, and those microbes are getting the chance to get a rest without having to be poisoned to death by pesticides and by chemical fertilizers. So they start doing their work again, and they start actually enhancing and sequestering carbon and sequestering nitrogen back into the soil, which allows that soil to remain fertile. Now, what if you can do that through our system and you didn't have to cover crop? So that's one way to look at this as a regenerative solution, because it's helping to regenerate the soil without a cover crop. Or if you really want to do a cover crop, our system will help that cover crop grow healthier and faster, and add more, more organic matter into the soil. So it's actually going to benefit either way. We work well with regenerative farmers and farmers that just want a more sustainable solution and not have to necessarily plant that cover crop. We can work either way. Um, and I just want to scroll down here. I thought I saw another couple questions here. Let me see here. We're revolutionizing the entire agriculture industry. Yes, that is true. We are revolutionizing the agricultural sector. And the interesting thing about this is not a hostile takeover. We're not coming in and saying, you have to do it our way and you have to change everything you're doing. I mean, at the end of the day, you're already watering your crops. All you have to do is add our system, which improves the signaling of the water and enhances the plant's natural metabolism without using chemicals, without using GMOs, without using all these things which are destructive to the environment and expensive. Even if you love GMOs and love pesticides and love everything else, those things are expensive. And believe me, those things are getting more expensive because with transportation costs and increased costs of fertilizer and chemical inputs, you're going to be paying a lot more money this year if you don't use a system like Kiminasi Plant Booster. So again, there's another reason to give me a call and do the cost benefit with me so we can actually show you how much money you're going to make with our system. And just so you guys know, no matter what the cost of our system is, no matter what kind of crops you're growing, when we give you a product, when we've done that cost benefit analysis, and we say, we expect you to make 23% more yield, and based on that, you're going to make an extra $5,000 per acre, and you're going to invest X amount of dollars per acre. If you don't make more money than the cost of our system in the first year using Kiminasi Plant Booster, in other words, if our projections are incorrect or something bad happens and there's some reason why you didn't see that extra yield, we'll give you the money back. We guarantee our product works and we'll make you more money, or we could give you your money back. We want you to be confident and also comfortable knowing that we have your back. We know farming is not an easy thing. We know there's a lot of variables to farming, but we have your back. And at the end of the day, we know that once you see the results that the Kiminasi Plant Booster is providing, you're going to have our back too. So it works both ways, and we're happy to put our foot forward so that you have a chance to use this product. So the cost benefit analysis for free. How can I get a consultation for my farm? Good question. Well, the way you get a cost benefit analysis for your farm is to just call us. The number's here on the screen, 727-324-6750. You can also email us at service@harvestharmonics.com. Let me see if I have my, let me put this here because I don't know if I put the email address here. But if you just email service@harvestharmonics.com, you can get a free quote, and we will happy to give you a quote or do the cost benefit analysis for you. I'll put that up on the screen here. So if you want to email us instead, please just email service@harvestharmonics.com. Again, we will connect with you. We will do a cost benefit analysis for you, and we'll show you how much money we expect you to make using Kiminasi Plant Booster. And again, if we don't hit the mark and you don't make more money than the cost of our system, we'll give you the money back and take our equipment back and say thank you for letting us try. Now, so far, after 600 farms, just so you guys know, after 600 farms, we don't have anybody that's ever asked for their money back. So we're batting 1,000 now, and don't expect that to change anytime soon. People are just raving about the positive effects. In beyond just yield. Again, the soil is healthier, the plants are healthier, the trees are healthier. They're more productive, the better quality produce as well. It's not just quantity, but it's the quality of the produce is increasing too. So there's a number of benefits here to be had. And really, that's all I got today, guys. I just want to advise you, if you're looking at a system like the Kiminasi Plant Booster, you have to understand that first of all, it's an investment, but more importantly than that, sometimes there's more than meets the eye when it comes to the cost of something versus the potential benefit. Because again, if you're investing smaller amounts of money to reduce costs, there's only so much you can reduce cost before you just can't reduce the cost anymore. And again, the hidden cost of using those chemical fertilizers is and poor soil quality, diminishing returns, and overall you're going to be spending more money, more money, more money. And I think at some level, most farmers that I talk to and most farmers know that we can't keep up the same model of agriculture indefinitely and expect to have a quality fruits and vegetables for us to eat. It's just not a sustainable model. So we can wait until the government tells you you have to do something a certain way, which of course is not what we want. Or you can jump on the opportunity now and take advantage of the Kiminasi Plant Booster and change your farm and the world for the better by making healthier, better quality produce with less harm to the environment and better overall yields. Because at the end of the day, again, we're here to help farmers make more money. We're here to help everybody eat healthier so we all have a healthier planet to live on and a healthier food supply as well. Really, that's all we got here today, guys. So again, email us there at service@harvestharmonics.com. You can go to our website and check out some of our case studies, or check out some of the more scientific explanations of what our technology is and how it works on the science page there. Or you can give us a call and let's do a cost benefit analysis for your farm so you can become part of the future of farming today and be more profitable than you ever thought possible. I hope to hear from you guys soon, and we'll talk soon.